One thing that's fascinating about that is that we're all conditioned to laugh at your moves on screen, and I don't know how you got the comic edge off your motion, which I think is intrinsically funny. In that, it's amazing. I mean,
Well, Dick Heffron, who was the director and a marvelous guy, he was very understanding about it.
yeah,
Before each take, they'd say roll him, and then just before he'd say action, he'd say, "This is not a comedy."
yeah.
Before every take.
Yeah. But that frightening look in your eye and that whole, it looks, anybody who's been around an alcoholic knows that feeling.
Yeah.
And how close to your story was that story in the film?
A lot of it. It was written by a friend of mine who is a recovered alcoholic and a very good writer, and we kind of got together, and I got together with the director, and we shared experiences. But almost every alcoholic's experience is pretty much the same. Once you get on that progression, it's...
Yeah.
I'd like to say one thing very important before I forget it, is there are a lot of people dying from alcoholism because the rest of us are enabling them to, because there's a stigma about that disease, as you probably know. And for centuries, they've been putting the blame on the character of the addict, and it's not so. There's no degeneration or loose morals or character defects in an alcoholic. It's a physical disease. An alcoholic has a certain metabolism and glandular setups that make them chemically adapt themselves to alcohol. And for them it is a stimulant, and it is calories, and it is food, and their bodies adapt to it. And it is a true addiction. And it has nothing to do with a person not being mature enough not to drink too much. It's a true addiction, like heroin addiction.
Does that mean that you were destined to become an alcoholic at birth if you
Yes.
ever took a drink?
That's true.
That's,
Now, for me, it took many, many years as just a social drinker along with everyone else.
Yeah.
And of course, by the time I realized I was in trouble, I was too deluded, like most alcoholics are, to be able to understand what was wrong with me.
Can you, I know it's supposed to be hard to find the point where you became an alcoholic in the sense that you were over the line into the danger zone. Can you isolate that point in your own life?
No, and I've tried to many, many times. When did I go from the point where I drank with my friends at a party or something, and when I began to drink way ahead of them? And I can't, you tend, I find, to get with people who are heavier drinkers without realizing what you're doing. And now that I'm a non-drinker altogether, I find that I've lost most of my friends who drank very heavily. I just don't see them.
They avoid you?
They kind of avoid me.
Yeah.
I think I get to their conscience a little bit now.
Are there well-known people in the show, in our business and show business, who are alcoholic that the public doesn't suspect? Obviously, I'm not asking for names, but do you know of cases?
There are many recovered alcoholics
Yeah.
in show business, many, and of course they don't want to say so, and I can't blame them too much.
Yeah, a few do, like yourself, and some don't. Do they? And some don't like to talk about it.
Mercedes McCambridge, for one, particularly.
Yeah.
She kind of broke the ice for the rest of us, I think.
I know Robert Young has talked about his in
Yes,
articles.
Dean Andrews.
Yeah. It's fascinating. Sometimes people have asked me, this boring interview questions, what are you proudest of in your career, and that kind of thing. And it's always hard to think of those things, but I did a two-part show on alcoholism one time. And
Yes, I saw
whenever
it.
you get a letter that says, your show saved my life, or something, I guess that has a kick that you can't get in any other kind
That's
of
very,
show
very
business.
true. And I'm sure you got a lot of those.
There are a lot of those. Television has a great power that way, if used
Yes.
that way.
And I have a collection of letters that I prize very highly from people who somehow were kind of shocked into seeing themselves in that movie and did get help for
Yeah,
themselves.
that must have sent a lot of people for help.
It did.
Yeah,
It did. And a lot of people, I've had spouses of alcoholics write to me and say my husband or my wife wouldn't watch the rest of the movie. They turned it off or left the room. They wouldn't watch, which is a pretty good indication they have a drinking problem.
Yeah, gee. Somebody wanted to know during the break if you were drinking in the days of the Mary Tyler Moore Show, which led me to a question. Can you look at old shows that you've done and tell when you were crocked, or were you ever in your
Never.
work?
I was never crocked. I love that. During work.
Yeah.
I did not drink before work or during work or ever in the daytime, which was my own particular cop-out. I said, I'm not one of those guys who has to have a drink in the morning, and I do not drink in the daytime or at work. I drink at home after work. And that proves to me that I didn't have a drinking problem.
That's right. A lot of people say that. Are you kidding? I can go all day without a drink.
That's right, by
ye-
gritting my teeth.
And yet they can be alcoholic.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
People who drink, get drunk once every 3 months can be alcoholics, periodic alcoholics.
There's a frightening book. I don't know if you've. I just started reading it today. I made a note of the title of it. It's called A Sensitive, Passionate Man by a woman named Barbara Mahoney.
I read it.
Did
yes.
you?
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
it's
it's
a
just
very sad, tragic story.
Yeah, my wife has met her somewhere, and it's just the destruction of her husband and almost of herself.
Yes.
By similar kind of by alcohol.
That's true.
Yeah.
And in reading it, having been, I not only was through in treatment myself, but I've attended the Johnson Institute at St. Mary's Hospital in Minneapolis, one of the best treatment centers in the country. Vernon Johnson wrote a book called I'll Quit Tomorrow, which I recommend to anyone who has a relative or a husband or wife that they think has a drinking problem. It's marvelous. But that guy in the book did all the wrong things.
Mm-hmm.
He went to a psychiatrist to find out what was wrong with his character or his personality that made him drink.
And you say that's bad.
That's not even valid.
Yeah.
What was wrong with him, he was physically addicted to alcohol.
Yeah.
That was the reason. And you need a different kind of treatment, different kind of help.
Mm-hmm. One of the shocking moments in that book was when she called the doctor, and he said coldly, "There's nothing I can do."
And he was right.
And he may have been right, but he could at least have explained that, because he just left her hanging.
Why?
You know, I mean, he just sort of hung up the phone. And
Doctors, for some reason, don't deal too much with alcoholics because there isn't anything medically you can do if they don't want to quit. And most people who are deeply into a chronic or acute alcoholism do not, at that point, want to quit.
yeah.
They can't conceive of life without drinking. It looks desolate and bare and dull to them.
You can see why people would go to a psychiatrist, though, because in your own case, for example, you had everything, you know, fame, success, money, family, home, all of that, and you were destroying it, theoretically.
Yes.
Therefore, you must hate yourself. Therefore, you must go to a psychiatrist, would, I suppose, be the line of reasoning.
That's true.
But the fallacy is that
That there is no pre-drinking morbid psychology in an alcoholic. It happens as a result of his physical addiction. Every time you get drunk, medically or legally drunk, you lose about 10,000 brain cells. Gone, dead, died, forever. And about 1 million to 2 million more that are severely damaged that will go if you stop drinking, and you actually lose IQ points. In drinking, you can lose up to 30 IQ points, which you can't get back.
that's astonishing.
Yes.
You say you were never drunk when you were, say, taping or filming a show, but since you drank all those years, there must have been some debilitation, something that might have showed over the years in your work. Are you able to spot that in watching your work over the years?
No, I'm not.
If you were losing
the
those
only thing
brain-
I noticed was energy.
Yeah.
A little debilitation, and I didn't have quite as much energy. And I thought, I wonder what's the matter with me. I exercise and everything. The delusion. I didn't stop to think that it might be that.
In Barbara Mahoney's book, it's terrifying that what happens to the wife of an alcoholic, because she has the kids and the school, and the kids are embarrassed by the terrible scenes they see at home and say things like, "Well, is Daddy really going to hurt you, Mommy?" and things when he would threaten her or hit her or whatever. But she said at least the husband could get away, even if he stumbled out of the house and went to work all day drunk. He at least got away, but she was there the whole time, and she
Yes.
drank too. How did it work with your own wife?
Well, my own wife was an alcoholic too, it turns out.
Yeah.
We were both in treatment. As a matter of fact, my wife is a therapist now at a treatment center in Phoenix at St. Luke's Hospital.
Treating alcoholics?
Treating alcoholics, yes. And doing very well at it, as a matter of fact. So we didn't have quite that same problem, but it's true that either spouse, the one who is non-alcoholic, is as sick emotionally. They're very sick and they need treatment. Usually if you don't treat both of them, the alcoholic does not get well. What happens is that the alcoholic is very ashamed and very guilty about what he is doing, and he cannot help himself. But he can't stand to attack himself that way, so he projects his own anger at himself onto his spouse. He said, if it weren't for you, I wouldn't drink. You're the one that makes me drink, and uses those kind of rationales. So that eventually the spouse begins to feel, maybe I am the reason. Maybe it's me. If I just would change and treat him differently, he wouldn't drink. And they become very neurotic and sick themselves and need help.
Which of you was it who decided to seek help first?
It was me.
Yeah. You were-
Yeah, I was the one, yeah.
Yeah.
I begin to have the one symptom that you cannot avoid, and that's a personality change when I drank. A personality. I was always a very happy drunk if I got drunk, and I had a very high tolerance, which I found out later is one of the clues. If you have a very high tolerance and can stay on your feet, speaking clearly when everybody else is going down the drain, that's a sign that you may have a propensity physically for alcohol.
Yeah, you do hear that very thing used by people who say, well, so-and-so has no trouble because she never changes or he never changes. He can take 6 or 8 drinks and you'd never know it. That is. I've also heard that an increased tolerance is dangerous.
Increased tolerance, at a certain point, this happened to me, your tolerance goes to nothing. Just all of a sudden, you can't drink at all.
Yeah.
But strangely enough, one of the things that makes an alcoholic physiologically, is that it is a depressant for most people. For an alcoholic, it is a stimulant. And as long as his blood level of alcohol is on the rise, he'll perform better. His motor responses will be better. His concentration will be better. A normal person gets worse.
That is, so a lot of performers claim that they do get better in performance if they have a drink. And this is true, isn't it? With some
if
cases.
They tend to be people who will adapt chemically to alcohol, it very likely is true.
Because there are people who will say that's never true. It's flatly never true. A drink ruins you. But, well, the Limelight story, I guess.
We won't mention any names, of course.
No. But that's a vicious trap because a performer has to be good. He has to have his edge on, so to speak.
Yes.
He has to have that drink. And
that I never tried. I always felt that would be a dulling thing.
Yeah.
And of course, there was always the guilt there. It's a bad thing.
It might have been well if
it was a bad thing.
You were raised that way.
Yes.
Was there no drop of liquor in your home as a child?
I think there was a drop of liquor in my home, but nobody ever drank it.
Yeah. Yeah, I come from a culture, Midwest Nebraska, where there was booze in the house, but weeks would go by without anyone having any.
That's true.
That seems to have changed even there, though. I think the whole country is.
We've become a drinking culture. We really have.
Are there any figures on how many people are alcoholics and don't know it? I don't know how you'd get them.
Well,
but
they think
there
there's
might
about
be estimates,
15 million in the United States.
Yeah.
And of course, there's only about 250,000, I think, in AA, and a few thousand others in treatment centers around the country. And the rest are people who are probably listening to us right now and denying to themselves they have a problem, that something's gnawing back there. Gee, I'm drinking too much. But like I always told myself, I drink because I enjoy it. I can quit anytime I want. And I was lying to myself. I really couldn't. But as long as you keep doing it, you never have to prove that.